Emily came back from her girls' trip with a glow that didn't match the weather. She stepped through the front door like sunlight itself, suitcase in one hand and that big, bright smile on her face. She hugged me like she hadn't seen me in years, arms tight, kisses warm, the kind of affection I used to miss. But I didn't miss it anymore. I watched her closely, not because I wanted to believe her, but because I already didn't. "How was the trip?" I asked, careful to keep my tone soft, unbothered. "Oh my God. It was amazing," she beamed. "We went wine tasting, hiking, even did a spa day." I needed that. She needed that. I nodded and offered a small smile. "Glad you had fun. Did you and Mike enjoy the wine too?" Her expression faltered barely. A blink too long, a pause that stretched just enough for me to clock it. But she recovered fast. "Mike? Who's Mike?" There it was. The lie. I didn't get angry. I didn't raise my voice. I just leaned against the kitchen counter and looked at her like I was studying something I used to understand. "The guy you called from the hotel at 11:43 p.m. 2 nights in a row. Same GPS ping on your phone. Same guy you used to work with before he moved." She went pale so fast it was like watching blood drain from paint. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, but her voice cracked halfway through. I opened the drawer next to me, pulled out a single printed page, and slid it across the counter. GPS logs, call records, screen captures, her lies, in black and white. Her hands trembled. She stared at it like it might burn her. "You went through my phone?" she hissed, latching onto the only defense she had. "No, Emily," I said quietly. "You went through my trust." She didn't have an answer for that. The room went still. She looked like a statue about to crack, eyes glassy, breathing shallow. I stood in front of her, not as her husband anymore, but as the man she didn't think would ever wake up to the truth. Then she said it, the classic line of the guilty. "It's not what you think." I tilted my head. "Then what is it?" "Emily." Tears welled up. She crumbled into the nearest chair, one hand covering her face like she was trying to hold the pieces of herself together. "It was a mistake," she whispered. "It didn't mean anything. I didn't plan it. It just happened." I said nothing. I let her talk. "He messaged me. Just catching up. That's all. I was lonely. And stupid. And I didn't mean for it to go that far. But it did. And I hate myself for it." Still, I didn't say a word. Her confession didn't sting like I thought it would. It didn't even feel like news. She cried harder. The kind of ugly, open crying that only comes from real regret or the realization that the consequences have arrived. I waited until the room was nothing but sniffles and silence before I finally spoke. "You buried everything we had for a man who didn't even bother deleting the call logs." Her crying slowed, but the silence between us felt heavier than anything she just admitted. I watched her for a moment, makeup smeared, eyes swollen. The same mouth that once promised me forever, now trembling from the weight of her own betrayal. I leaned forward and asked just one thing. One question, quiet and cold. "Was it worth it?" She didn't answer right away. Her lips parted, then closed again. A few heartbeats passed before she finally whispered, "No." She looked up, hoping maybe her honesty would earn her some grace. But I didn't move. I didn't soften. I stood up, walked past her, and picked up my duffel bag from behind the couch. It had been packed for 2 days. I'd already rehearsed this moment in my head more times than I could count. "Good?" I said. "Because it cost you everything." She blinked, confused, then horrified, as I laid the divorce papers on the dining table with quiet finality. Her face drained again. Her hand shot out toward them like she could stop this by touching the paper. "No, please. Wait. We can fix this. We can go to therapy. I'll quit my job. I'll block his number, whatever you need. I'll do it." I shook my head. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. "You don't fix a house that burned down. You walk away before it kills you too." She tried to get in front of me, placing her hands on my chest like a barricade. "Don't go, please. I'll change. I swear, don't do this." I looked down at her hands and gently removed them, like someone closing a book they once loved. "I'm not doing this," I said. "You did." I stepped round her and walked toward the door. That's when she saw the envelope on the hallway table, my signed copy of the divorce agreement, already notarized. The realization hit her all at once. I had already left her. This wasn't a reaction. This was a decision I made long before she ever told the truth. She collapsed into the couch behind me, sobbing like a child who had just realized their favorite toy was never coming back. "You're just going to walk away," she cried. I paused at the door. "No." I walked away the night I found the proof. "You just didn't see it until now." I left. I didn't slam the door. I didn't shout. I didn't give her a grand gesture she could replay in her head and twist into a new kind of victimhood. I left in silence, clean, dignified, and final. Over the next few days, she sent message after message. She called from different numbers, emailed long apologies, even showed up at my office one size red, voice trembling. I asked the receptionist not to let her in again. She had her affair in secret. She could mourn it in silence. I didn't respond. Not once. Not because I didn't feel pain, but because I finally understood that someone who lies to your face while smiling doesn't deserve your voice once they're crying. And as the days turned into weeks, the space between us grew quiet. For me, that silence was peace. For her, it was punishment. It was almost 3 months before I heard her name again. A mutual friend, Sam, mentioned her in passing while we grabbed coffee. "Emily's not doing too great," he said, stirring sugar into his cup. He laughed. "That guy Mike moved across the country. Didn't even tell her. Just disappeared." I didn't say much, just nodded. But deep down, some small, quiet part of me exhaled. Not enjoy. This wasn't revenge, just a strange kind of closure. She burned everything down for someone who never planned to stay. Poetic, maybe. Sad, definitely. I moved into a quiet apartment across town. Nothing fancy, just clean and mine. I got a dog, picked up old hobbies again, even started sleeping through the night without grinding my teeth. Sometimes I'd think about her not with longing, but with a dull ache, like pressing a bruise you forgot was there. And then, one evening, I got the email. It was long, pages of it. The kind of message you write at 2 a.m., drunk on regret and nothing left to lose. She said all the things I guess she thought I wanted to hear. "You were the best thing that ever happened to me." I didn't realize what I had until it was gone. "He never loved me. He just wanted the attention. I miss your laugh. I miss the way you held me when I couldn't sleep." Then the final line. "You were right. You were the only one who ever truly loved me." I stared at those words for a long time, not because they moved me but because I didn't feel anything at all. I closed the laptop. No reply. She had my forgiveness, but not my return, because real love doesn't survive betrayal. It doesn't survive lies whispered in the dark while someone else is waiting for you to come home. It doesn't survive the nights I sat up wondering if I was enough. I had loved her, fully, patiently, blindly, and she broke that. Not with one mistake, but with 100 little choices every time she smiled at him and called me her rock in the same breath. So no, I didn't go back. I didn't answer her messages. I didn't give her the comfort of a second chance. I gave her what she earned, my silence. And you know what? Sometimes silence is the loudest goodbye.